Economists are expecting the Chancellor on Wednesday to show he knows how to fill a black hole of about £40 billion to stabilise debt. He's thought to be eyeing rises in corporation tax and capital gains tax to help with that. And that's touched an already raw nerve amongst Tory MPs. David Davis is sufficiently worried he's threatened to vote against the budget and risk losing the party whip if the tax burden is increased.
The Conservative Party used to be a party that was for the smaller state and believed bringing down taxes grew the economy.
Well, that's still true.
Are you quite sure about that?
Yes, absolutely. If you cut corporation tax, generally speaking, you get more corporation tax than you thought you would get. If you cut capital gains tax, we found the same. These are not guesses. This is what's happened in the past.
But those are the two levers that the Chancellor's thinking of pulling.
Well, that's why I argue that you mustn't increase the tax burden.
Some Conservatives are wondering where the party is heading. Are the new supporters, one in seats like Sedgefield, shifting the Conservatives in a new direction?
A lot of the newer Tory voters, certainly compared to traditional Tory voters, they're more provincial, they're less prosperous, they're probably more interested in the security that the state can provide rather than trying to win freedom from the state.
In a poll asked if the government should generally raise taxes rather than cut spending, 47% said the former, 39% the latter. If you just look at Conservative supporters polled, it's 49% preferring the idea of raising taxes, 38% the idea of cutting spending. And the break amongst Labour supporters is the same way, though the margin is bigger.
James Johnson conducted polling for Theresa May in number 10. He says this is a big shift from where voters were a decade ago.
There's increasingly this view amongst voters, including those in the red wall seats that the Conservatives won in December 2019, that there is permission out there for tax rises if they're needed. Whether that's tax on higher earners, on business, but also actually whether that's tax for people themselves. As long as that's framed as fair, they see other people who they think should be paying more in, and it's seen as linked to sort of the national mission, so to speak, of paying back the debt after the coronavirus pandemic, then there absolutely is that room for manoeuvre and permission amongst voters and Conservative voters for higher taxes.
In the last election, you got a new voter base, and it does look as though there's a bigger appetite for raising taxes amongst the people who now support the Conservative Party. You've got a bit of an identity crisis.
I don't know where you got that idea from. I mean, I went
polling.
Yeah, well, polling's rubbish.
Voters were asked in this poll about different combinations of measures. What if tax thresholds were frozen and corporation tax was increased? 48% said they liked that idea, 15% were against. Asked if they wanted a national insurance rise for all, but proportionately hitting those better off harder, 51% agreed with the idea, 21% opposed it. There is no permission to raise taxes, which some people think they detect. There's a new dispensation out there, a new moon.
It's imagination. I mean, it's just not true. You know, it wasn't true at the election. I don't see it as being true now. And anyway, I mean, it's a road to perdition.
You can't really have it both ways if you want to tackle the debt and you want to get the debt down. Really, your only avenue is spending cuts or tax rises. The public are quite grown up about the whole situation. They're saying, well, if you need to do this, it's probably going to be tax rises. Conservative MPs are increasingly perhaps trying to have neither of those things while still talking about getting the debt down.
The Chancellor's been briefing Tory MPs that the black hole needs attention. Tories must cast themselves as the party of fiscal responsibility to win against Labour. But his neighbours promised Labour-style public spending. On Wednesday we discover how they plan to pull off that trick.